So as I was telling that ischial fossa is an important question asked in examination, and there are clinical scenarios. They give the clinical scenarios where the abscess is formed in the ischial fossa, and they ask for the site of infection, and then they ask for the boundaries that is involved in that infection. That is ischial fossa, which is the site for the infection, and then they will ask the boundaries of ischial fossa. First of all, this is the shape of the ischial fossa. This is wedge-shaped space present on each side of the anal region in the perineum, as this is the anal region in the perineum. So these spaces will known as the ischial fossas. An ischial fossa is present on each side of the anal canal below the pelvic diaphragm. Then there is an apex of the ischial fossa. This is the apex. Then we have the base of the ischial fossa. Then there are medial boundaries and the lateral boundaries. Medial and lateral wall, you can say. So first of all is the apex. Apex is directed upwards, and it is formed by a line where obturator fascia meets with the fascia of the pelvic diaphragm. As we have discussed in the deep perineum, as we have discussed in the anal region, that there are two fascias. One is superficial fascia and one is deep fascia. So deep fascia is formed by the obturator fascia and the fascia of pelvic diaphragm. So ischial fossa is also formed by a line where obturator fascia meets with the fascia of the pelvic diaphragm. Then we have the base, which is directed downwards, and it is formed by the skin of the perineum. If you see here, that will be the apex that is directed upwards, and that will be the base that is directed downwards, right? Then we have the medial and lateral walls, and anteriorly and posteriorly there are some relations of ischial fossa. So ischial fossa anteriorly, it is limited by the posterior border of the perineal membrane. Here around the external anal sphincter muscle and perineal body, there is one muscle lying transversely, that is also separating the urogenital and anal region. That muscle is known as superficial transverse perineal muscle. Superficial transverse perineal muscle on each side have the perineal membrane. This white part is the membrane that is known as perineal membrane. So what they are saying is that ischial fossa is limited anteriorly by this posterior border of perineal membrane. That would be the anterior border of perineal membrane, and that would be the posterior border of perineal membrane. So ischial fossa is limited anteriorly. This is ischial fossa. It is limited anteriorly by the posterior border of the perineal membrane. While they say the ischial fossa is bounded posteriorly by this gluteus maximus muscle and the sacrotuberous ligament. So if you see the model, it makes sense that anteriorly it should be the posterior border of the perineal membrane, and posteriorly it should be gluteus maximus and sacrotuberous ligament. Now comes the medial and lateral walls of the ischial fossa. For the medial and lateral wall is covered by the obturator internus with fascia and also with the ischial tuberosity. So that should be the lateral wall, and that is covered by this ischial tuberosity and obturator internus with fascia. While the medial wall, this is ischial fossa, so that will be the medial side of ischial fossa, and that will be the lateral side, that will be anterior side, and that will be the posterior side. So lateral side is ischial tuberosity, anterior side is this posterior border of perineal membrane, posteriorly it's gluteus maximus and sacrotuberous ligament. Now comes the medial part. So if this is ischial fossa, medially there are fibers of levator ani which are running, and there is external anal sphincter. So medial wall of ischial fossa is formed by levator ani and external anal sphincter muscle. That is the medial wall. So these are the boundaries of ischial fossa. Then we have recesses which are formed in the ischial fossa. What are recesses of the ischial fossa? That are the narrow extensions of the fossa beyond its boundaries. So ischial fossa is not only limited to that part, but there are some extensions of the fossa which extend and it extends beyond its boundaries, and that extensions are known as recesses. We have three types of the recesses which are formed. One is anterior recess, second is posterior recess, and third is the horseshoe recess. So anterior recess is the one which extends from above the perineal membrane reaching up to the surface of the body of the pubis, and it is closely related to prostate and vagina. So they say that anterior recess should be formed here, and it extends from above the perineal membrane. It will these recesses are extensions, so this will extend above the perineal membrane reaching up to the surface of body of the pubis, and they are related to vagina in females and prostate in males. So that anterior extension is going upward towards the urogenital region. Then we have the posterior recess. Posterior recess goes deep or beyond the sacrotuberous ligament. As the name shows, posterior recess should go below that anal region. So sacrotuberous ligament, this is the one. So it will go beyond that sacrotuberous ligament or beyond deep to this sacrotuberous ligament. Then we have a horseshoe recess. Horseshoe recess is the one extension which connects the ischion-anal fossa beyond the anal canal. So these are the three important recesses of the ischion-anal fossa.